Hey guys, I don't know what was with my smile in the last video. I think it's because I have this cut right here, and it was hurting me at the time. Um, anyway, this is our genealogy video. Then I have a fun video, just something, me telling you a story about my life, but I think it'll be fun. This time we're going to talk about old medical records, military records, that sort of thing. I want to show you, for one thing, in the case of this record, again, we have handwriting. We have Aunt Eva's handwriting. Great Aunt Eva. Knock that out on the floor. Writing a letter to the doctor, trying to get Clarabelle's sizes. And that's her death. It's very obvious if you watch this, if you read through this, that this woman, and these are all the ward notes, was not mentally ill to start with. She had other problems. Physical, actual illness. Her admission report is interesting because you read her answers to the questions and it gives you insight, you know? And you can get these records if they're old enough. They won't make you jump through too many hoops. I'm still trying to get my mother's records, and that's feeling like a circus dog jumping through hoops. But anyway, and this is her heredity chart, which is blank. Okay, here we go. Statistical data. That's important because it shows parentage, siblings, all that sort of stuff. I know you can't see it, but I'm trying to find, because they also gave us cost us $11 to get this. And what was the date that we received this? 1998, 11/23/98. Oh gosh, we got this just as I was starting to go through getting my cancer diagnosis. Wow. There are a lot of letters in here. Okay, this is my uncle's. No, this is my grandfather's. Huh. Huh. This is my grandfather's. We had perfect eyesight. Huh. Oh, with glasses. He had prescriptions for either side. It looks like that's amazing. Because this is military. Let's see. Administrative Division, Wilson Robert. 3/2/43 was the date of discharge. 10/14/42 was the day he went in. He wasn't in very long. He lived on Baysette Street in Manchug at that time. But this is all his measurements. And then, to whom married? Wait a minute. Finish the following information about each previous marriage. Does not apply. He never even put his first wife in. And these are my dad and my uncles. Is your father dependent upon you for support? Well, no, his father was dead. Oh, no, this was the 40s. His father wasn't dead, but he wasn't dependent on him. Is your mother dependent on you for support? No. Nearest relative, wife. That's true, because his parents lived with his siblings. Okay, and these are his employments, which were so short. Wow. He self-employed, odd jobs, 3 weeks, $60. My grandfather made good money at the Cheney mill. I don't know what that Valley one was. Oh, George and Duffy Cherry Valley Mills. Okay, Cherry Valley, Mass. Okay. Picking up bobbins. 3 weeks he made $504. Sheesh. If he'd have stayed at that job, my grandparents would have been rolling in it. Do you know how much money that was in the 1940s? That is insane. Good Lord. He worked at J.J. O'Donnell at Farnhamville, Mass. for 9 months and made $1,872. Wow. Anyway, that was, I don't know when that was, because, anyway, this is my grandfather's fingerprint. That's another thing that you can find. It's upside down, but in the records, you can find pictures in some records. Yeah, here's more of Grandpa's record. Entered service in Connecticut, went to Fort Bliss, Texas, and was discharged. He was discharged due to disability. His arthritis was so bad, the man could barely move. I will also tell you that the man was a raving alcoholic. So, I got no problem telling you that. Okay, he did put his first wife in on this page. He has central arthritis, 1949, and high blood pressure. He didn't know when he was diagnosed with that. Number of times you have been married, twice. Number of times your present spouse has been married, once. My lucky grandmother. Anyway, more Wilson Robert Sr. These are veterans records. This is his allowance for burial. My grandmother had beautiful handwriting. And that's the thing. You can actually see these people's handwriting. Right there, my grandmother's signature. I don't know if you can see it. But the point of this is you can see so much. This is his actual discharge. Then we're back into Clarabelle. I don't know how this stuff got so disorganized. But then we're down to his brother Wilson. Wilson. James Wilson. And we have Thomas's records in the middle. Not Thomas Wilson, Thomas Gates. But anyway, I do not know why these are such a mess, and they do have to be reorganized, which is something that a task I will take on, just not at this moment, because I have way too much on my plate. That being said, try to get these records. Some records you will have to be the administrator to get, but, and it depends on the state too. And this is interesting. Here's another military record, sort of. This is William B. Cox. That's a middle name that's been in the family forever. He had malarial poisoning and disease of chest. And this is all kinds of information about him, and how he got his, this is the surgeon's certificate of how he ended up getting his pension from the Civil War. So yes, it's back that far. You can get records, paper records back that far. I have a very simple World War I record. It's like one page because it's World War I. For my great uncle, and it's interesting. Like I said, this says Clarabelle because it's mostly Aunt Clarabelle, but I will have to undertake separating these out again because I don't know why they're all together. And I have a big chunk of information missing because I had my grandmother's records, her medical records. Because part of our genealogy, as I mentioned to you before, is a medical genealogy. But you'd be amazed. Now, I didn't see here in Clarabelle's, and I know it's here somewhere, there was the list of people that went to visit her. What in the heck is this? Next transmittal sheet. Okay. Please check your records to see if you have any information regarding this subject and or his relatives and advise the coroner's office ASAP. Oh, I think I know what that is. Okay, that's my cousin that we got back to where he belonged. I'm pretty sure that's what that is. I also have a coroner's report on my great-grandfather, Thomas Wilson, because he fought a broken ankle shortly before he died. And because he died in the 1950s, they didn't have nursing homes that could take care of someone in the condition that he was in. He had severe dementia, to the point that he did something and nearly burnt the whole damn house down. So they had to put him in a facility, and unfortunately, the state hospital in Norwich was the only place I could put him. And because he died there, I mean, he went there at 82, 84, I think. Died there at 86. They brought the coroner in to make sure, you know, to cover their own rear ends. Which was fine because the coroner found nothing. He said he died of natural causes. The man broke his hip a couple months ago falling out of bed. Everything was very well documented. I guess he fell frequently. But everything was well documented as far as his hip went. And he died a couple months after the hip. Actually, it might have been almost a year. But it was still in conjunction with the hip. And he was 86 years old. And the coroner said, I'm not going to do an internal autopsy of an 86-year-old man who clearly died of natural causes. So that paper is interesting. I have that. It's actually in a plastic thing because it's folded and put in because it's long. They had to go through boxes at the Connecticut State Archives to find it. They found it. By the way, I did replace my coaster. Is that not adorable? This one's in better condition than the top one. The top one was embedded with dust. So yeah, happy about that. It says don't put it in the dishwasher, you might destroy the cork. Well, the cork is on the bottom because this is a freaking rock. And you don't want this sitting on your table. It'll scratch the hell out of it and defeat the purpose of having a coaster in the first place. So, and these are Thirsty Stone. They have a website, thirstystone.com. I don't know if you're interested in these, and I don't know how old they are. They can't be that old if they have a website. So yeah, that's just a little added side note. Yeah, I love digging into these records, and I'm going to put this aside so that I can separate these out into smaller folders. I have ideas. I'm going to put that back over there. I had a military folder. So I'm going to have to just figure this out. My grandfather, I have 2 folders of records for him. My mother's natural father. You would not believe the records I have for him. A lot of this stuff is very personal, family-wise, and I won't read it. But, out loud, obviously. But it's very interesting. In fact, I just got his military, 2 papers from the military on him. Apparently, the rest of it went up in smoke along with the 1890 census. Not at the same time, but you get what I'm saying. I will, in the description, leave links. How will I do that? I was going to say to state archives, but I don't know what state you're in. I'll try to find something how to get old medical records. In Massachusetts, you have to be the person's thing. The person's medical, well, not medical, the person's voluntary administrator. And I'm trying to get a waiver like I did when I did Thomas Gates. So, but I haven't heard back from the people that were helping me. I don't understand, but this thing is freezing cold. Let me go over to my sent mail. This is why you do not erase your sent mail, because it's easy enough. That's not it. I can't find it. I have all the ones to Timothy Gilmore, but oh, right here. Let me reply. Okay. Think there. I knew I'd find it. So yeah. Again, that's a part of my genealogy because we do that. We always have, especially since I got sick. Excuse me, wanting to know, where did it come from? Some of my illnesses came from my mother's side of the family and my father's side of the family. Some of my stuff actually came from both because there was asthma on both sides. I was not escaping that. My father's mother had asthma. My mother's aunt and my mother both had asthma. Actually, it was her great aunt. There were other people in the family with asthma. My cousin has asthma. A couple of my cousins have asthma on both sides. So yeah, it runs very strongly in the family. And it's, you can see what does, you know. But like I said, under Clarabelle, we actually have the sign in. The people who went to visit her. So you get an idea of, you get names to look up and say, oh, that's how that person's related. You know what I mean? Because if a lady signed in under a married name, you might not know who the heck she was. So you look that up and you're like, oh, that's Auntie. You know, or that's, you know, if Trixie signed in as Myrtle March and you didn't know her real first name was Myrtle, you'd go, who in the world is that? Type it in. It's Cousin Trixie, which was her nickname. So, and that's a thing you've got to be careful with too, is nicknames, because I like it when you're able to put them with the name in the genealogy. Like some of the genealogy softwares allow you to put the name that they're known by, their nickname, in as well. So you would do Myrtle Cox, and then you would do Trixie. You would do my dad, Robert Wilson Jr., and you would do Willie. So, something like that. It's not so much about David being called Dave. And you know, I've never called my Uncle David Uncle Dave. I think probably because I have two. I have Uncle David Darling, who is Uncle Dave, and Uncle David Wilson, who is Uncle David. So, and he's always been Uncle David, you know. His wife calls him Dave, which is fine. I just never have. In my phone, that's how I have them, because I have them both as uncle. So I have my uncle as Uncle David and my uncle by choice as Uncle Dave. So, but I call them both Uncle David. And it's funny because my uncle by choice, his son, is also David. And I call him Davy. We're 48 years old. I call him Davy. And he said, it's okay. I'm like, oh, Dave, I really shouldn't do that. He's Dave. Uncle is David. So I try to remember to call him Dave, not Davy. And my cousin is David Allen, because he too is David. So he's David Allen. And it's always been that way. We've always called him by both his names. So, and same thing with one of my cousins, even though David Allen's sister, we call her Jenny May. We don't just call her Jenny usually. She's always gone by Jenny May, her first and middle name. Sabrina, we didn't generally call Sabrina Lynn because her nickname is Beanie or Beans. We still call her Beanie. Like, do you mind being called Beanie? No, not at all. What does that say? Oh, 30% power. That's okay, because I already showed you what I wanted to show you, which was medical and military records and what you can obtain from them. I hope this convoluted video actually helps you. Thank you for joining me. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Click that subscribe button. God bless you. Bye-bye.